Okay. Alright, here we go. Alright, Gran Turismo 2, 80%, no license prizes. Alright, so this category is 80%. Just get to the credits, just like Gran Turismo 1. And like every Gran Turismo run, starts with licenses. So 2, big improvement from 1. There are more licenses. There's 6. There's B, A, IC, IB, and IA, and Super License. That's after you complete all the previous ones. Get S. S is all time trials. So this run has no time trials. So first off, probably wondering this. It's right here. This is the Namco G-Con. You guys can see that? The G-Con. This is pretty much the closest thing to a steering wheel for PlayStation 1. It was made with the intention of Cyber Sled in mind by Namco. Namco also made this controller. Cyber Sled was a robot arena battle game, and the controls work out really well for this. If you've ever seen the arcade version of Cyber Sled, so these first 3 tests are just start and stop. I'm gonna go and drift into the finish line, pretty much. It's really simple. Nothing much to talk about with that. So this controller has a big analog in the middle. It's kind of like an analog stick, but the game handles it differently. It goes around 135 both ways, left and right. You can kind of tell left and right looking at my hands, so left, right. And it can be calibrated in the analog settings menu, in the options. So, left and right. You can kind of tell because my hands are going this way. It's really comfortable. You wouldn't tell by looking at it, it's not comfortable, but it is. So it has a 1 and 2 button, it's accelerate and brake. And in Gran Turismo 2, it's also confirm and cancel, so these are both confirm, these are both cancel. A and B, which is pretty much square, triangle and circle. A D-pad and a start button. So no select. No L2, R2. This here's analog. It doesn't really come into use. This was not. So I'm gonna just drift in this finish and get out of it. So, being a steering wheel, the game handles it as a steering wheel. There's no force feedback like other USB wheels. This isn't USB. This is made in. This model wasn't made in '94. I actually don't know when this model was, but the original G-Con was made in September of '94. Before the PlayStation 1 was in America, interestingly enough. So it's pretty much just a steering wheel. It's great. So I can take half inputs and whatnot. Have more precision. I just don't use manual for this category at least because it's pretty relevant. And same with the license tests. These license tests have more control with the automatic than manual. So these last 2 were the circle tests. They're pretty simple enough. Just turn. I'm overturning because I have it calibrated to like 60 degrees, I think. I don't know how the game handles that number, but 60 is like here. I just do it a little much because I'm dumb. It's also just really comfortable to go around corners like that. So these next ones are more beginner stuff. So this is akin to the deep force test. This is just a simple long hairpin, not really hairpin, but a simple 180 left. So I'm not going to deaccelerate, just going to go into it. I'm off the camera there. Yeah, one thing about the new G-Con is it's hard to stay in camera range. Yeah, alright, so enough with the G-Con. It's really good. That's pretty much all you need to know about it. It's the racing game controller. So, this is Gran Turismo 2. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of licenses. This game really hammers home you should probably do licenses all the time to get better at the game. And in turn, you get better prizes for all gold. There's a license prize category, but it's the opposite of Marathon Safe. I'm alright at the licenses, I just can't gold them all consistently. All I got is that by the bare minimum. Bare minimum is not the value of the gold requirement. That will be a silver. So normally I'm pretty good licensed, but not super consistent. No one really is. No one can be consistent all the time with these licenses, and you probably could with enough practice. But like, I've played Gran Turismo 2 since 2000. I'm still not that confident in it, so it's the opposite of a marathon run, because I wouldn't want to sit for 20 minutes try to gold one license test, where I can just complete the licenses, buy a car, and go beat the game. Some more simple, just basics. So this is an S with the Cougar. Kind of like an understeering front-wheel drive. Simple enough. These tests are really simple up until like IB. So I'm just going to explain some differences of the Japanese version, which I'm playing on, than everything else. So Gran Turismo 2 has 3 different versions. Obviously, there's PAL, NTSC-J, and NTSC-U. They're all different in their own separate ways. Almost to the point where they're different games altogether. It's really awkward. So, the soundtracks are all different. Gran Turismo 1, they were almost the same except for the J. J was different. 2, the J has more original stuff. PAL has more licensed stuff, but it's different than everything else. And U, America, has totally different soundtrack. It's all like alternative stuff. So like Dragula by Rob Zombie, Sex Type Thing by Stone Temple Pilots. I think I'm Paranoid by Garbage, stuff that was, big in 99, 2000. So it's completely unrecognizable. All the versions load differently. PAL's faster than America, America's faster than Japan. So I'm playing the slowest version. But there's a catch to being on the slowest version. Japanese version can do any race without any restriction than licenses. Which by the category is only an hour, 10 minutes long. I can go right to the World Championship, wherever I please. Which is what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to get a car, and then just beat the game. Simple enough. So this is a fast start and stop test. I'll try to get this kinda right that. Good. So here's another one. This is a corner start and stop. So oddly enough, it's not intended to do the start and stop like I do. It's just faster that way. But this test is intended to do that way, which is coincidentally the last one. So they show you right at the end how to do the start and stop test. So I'm trying not to get in the grass. It's kind of hard to get this precise, because the Legacy is not the best car, and it likes to drift. So this is more reiteration in these next, pretty much the next 8 tests to the end of B, or A I should say. Kind of just... I didn't mean to pause it. If you guys can tell, the start button is right there. It's right by my thumb. So more hidden home of you need to learn these tests, because you're going to see them a lot. They're quick, luckily. So I'm going to alternate between the Integra and Aletsa for these next 2. Well, next 4, so 2 sets really. This one here, I'm going to go down to second gear, hopefully. There we go. Second gear and accelerate out. This might actually be gold. It's a pretty good setup. It's like I mentioned earlier, the automatic over manual. Manual's technically faster because you can just be faster with the manual transmission. That was close. But I have a lot of setups with automatic, so I'm more comfortable with automatic. This is a quick left. Can't really do conversions in my head for kilometers per hour to miles per hour, which is my usual setup. but I can kind of feel it out and get the gold if need be. So yeah, Japanese version only has to do worlds to get to the credits, as opposed to PAL and America have to go through nationals to get to the leagues, and then leagues to get to the worlds. So a sequential thing. It's like how you would normally play the game: you licenses and get a car, and then do your nationals to qualify for the leagues, and do the leagues to qualify for the World Championship. But Japan, nah, we'll do everything out of order. It's fine. So an S test, kind of like the high-speed ring test from Gran Turismo 1. I'm gonna do it with an all-wheel drive and a rear-wheel drive, and then later with a front-wheel drive and a mid-range rear-wheel drive. That'll be an IB. The menuing's a little off. You can move it, I think, every frame or every other frame. I think it's every frame you can move during menus, especially in licenses. So I try to go as quick as possible, but it is kind of tough. I'm more tough because the start button's on the left side. So I can't, I have to use one hand to get through the menus. It is pretty interesting. I'll take the sacrifice for using this controller, because it's faster. Being better. And there are more differences between Japanese PAL and NTSCU. There's the used car cycles are all different. None of them are the same from the 3 versions. Japanese version has the money thing like in Gran Turismo 1, where it's more looking like yen than dollars, so times 100 for everything. And I think most Gran Turismos have this, where Acura doesn't exist in the Japanese version, but it does in the American version because of localization. Alright, so on to IC. IC is a little more practical stuff. A little more on tracks. But more dedicated licensed tracks than actual tracks. Like this one here. It's a J turn. So it's going to be an increasing radius. Fast to slow and accelerate out. Normally, in a license prize one run, I would go for golds for either IC, IB, or IA, but like I mentioned earlier, they're extremely difficult, and I don't really want to do a run that's not marathon safe at all. Alright, so the 2 probably the most notorious in the game. People know. This one's not so bad. Camaro in the square tests. Kind of difficult, but there's a little room to work. It's open. But this one here is probably a lot of people's worst nightmare. Even for playing as long as I have, this is still not an easy test. Set 4's really awkward. There's less room to work with because of the guardrails. There's a whole reason for the test, so understandable. Because Gran Turismo 2 is a lot more city tracks than anything else. Bam, there you go. Nice gold. But it still doesn't make IC any easier. So here's the shortest test in the game. Super and Red Rock. I shouldn't have to be deaccelerating, but I wanted to be consistent, so just want to get through it. So this is just an extended Red Rock of earlier. So now we're getting into the more practical applied sections of licenses. Which where this game excels for tests. You learn pretty much on the job kind of thing. These next two are midfield. The midfield little kink and hairpin at the end. The front wheel drive and rear wheel drive. I'm trying to get to 50 down here if I can remember what 50 is. That's alright. These two are surprisingly tough for gold. Which is most of the game. Since the tests are so small, little room for error. I could fail there. Okay, I didn't fail there. If I went a little further, most of the S2000 would have been in the grass, and that would have been bad. Okay, so here's the test. The only test I think I wall ride for? I don't actually remember. But not wall riding here makes the gold really, really tough. So this just saves time if I can nail the wall ride correctly. This Alfa Romeo is pretty big, so I'm trying to get the rear end into the guardrail over there. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, this should be fine. There we go. Found that out months ago, and ever since, I was so happy. Being a test that's extremely hard to gold without a wall ride. Finally got a wall ride that works, so. So Seattle with Corvette. This one's pretty fun, actually. I'm a big fan of this test. When it goes correct. Main city section with a hairpin at the end. A little slow. I was trying to gauge where 55 was. So simple enough. Now we're on to the actual difficult licenses. So IB is the introduction to Dirt. And this is a Japanese version, so it's not a good introduction. So Dirt physics work differently than everything else. A lot more loose, there's no traction whatsoever. It's like playing on ice than playing on dirt. And you'll see when I do this test here. This is the Impreza in Smoky Mountain North. A lot of jumps. This is actually a really awkward test. Kind of hard to control cars when you're in midair. Gotta be careful. But it's very loose. So if you ever wondered why the dirt tests gold are so easy on, you know, American or PAL, well, this is why they were meant for the Japanese version. Normally you actually get some grip on dirt. I still think this is actually unrealistic, physics-wise, for dirt. I don't think dirt actually handles this loose and poorly, so. Yeah, like this test is not hard on any other version, so it's kind of just hard to play with the physics this way. But I'll get through them. Alright, so back to the S's. So 2 oversteer cars, front wheel drive FTO. I'll do the same thing as I did before. And next up with an NSX. This is actually not too easy. The NSX handles pretty poorly. Not looking for gold, but gold would be pretty nice just to get through it quicker. Close enough. Okay. Next up, downhill, left into another left with the Mustang. So try to get a good drift to get in this corner better. In a second, try to get some speed out of that. So the test normally is really easy on like any other version, but on the Japanese version, cars handle differently. So tests are hit and miss. Alright, so first up, first slalom, everyone's favorite. So if I don't hit any walls, that should be fine. The secret to slaloms, might as well talk about that. It's a lot of just trying not to get your car out of control. So it's more just deaccelerate, turn, accelerate, deaccelerate, turn, and repeat. A lot of applied knowledge there. Alright, so that one's pretty awkward. This test is actually like really annoying. Trying to make the R33 not drift is pretty difficult. Still gold though, that's fine. Alright, slalom number 2. This is a lot faster. This I can't brake. I kind of have to go and try not to slow down that much. It's probably the one that everyone thinks is the most difficult to gold. There we go. Not bad. Almost a 17 as well. It's pretty good. It helps to... like, more of licenses are very helpful. It's helpful to know how to control a car that way, so... licenses are pretty good. Alright, Arc 7 in Red Rock Valley. It's a pretty fast test. Try not to deaccelerate early and get the rear end enough out to get through here, so... there we go. Not bad. And good old Viper. Yeah, got through a little bit of change from Gran Turismo 1. Now we're in Laguna Seca, the first of the... get to see the real life track come to life in a game. So get to see the famous corkscrew of Laguna Seca. The Viper. All-American car, all-American track. And there we go. Easy peasy, right through it. As long as you're safe, these tests aren't too bad. On to IA. It's actually difficult. So these are all very applied, extremely difficult tests to really test your knowledge of those sections and hope you have the knowledge to get through the rest of the game. So first up, circle track with Viper. So extreme oversteer. So the game is showing you how to control heavy car when it's going sideways. So I'm going to try to get this thing in the third gear. try to get into third gear so it'll not rev so much so the tires don't spin that fast. So it's a little easier to control if I can stay in there. This is actually a little awkward for automatic, but it's fine nonetheless. Ah, there it is. Okay, next up, Griffith in super fast corners. This is a license test circuit, so it's a little section. Nothing you'd ever see in a real track, but it's helpful for knowledge. You gotta dip into this corner, accelerate out, try to get my rear end through here, and accelerate out. A little slow, might be gold, who knows. It's a very difficult test, just to get the line correct. And the Griffith is pretty heavy. Alright, so my least favorite test. The NSX in Apricot Hill. If you've ever played the PAL version, the goal requirement is 0.2 of a second slower, which is 0.2 of a second that I wish I had every time I did this test. So I'll try to gold this. I can't guarantee I'll do it. It is pretty difficult and there's like no room for any kind of error whatsoever. I think I already messed it up. Yeah, it's not going to happen. The second last corner was really hurting, which is the banked left. Alright, so 3 dirt tests coming up. This one's really annoying. This one normally I average a 23 on the American version. On the Japanese version I might not gold it. Like I showed you guys earlier on the IB license. Well, this is dirt for you. Because normally this test is very easy. It's short and you get grip. Well, the grip is gone and didn't even bronze it. Well, I did bronze it, didn't even silver it. So, extremely difficult. Alright, Escudo in Pikes Peak. The Escudo is the only car in the game that can handle dirt correctly. Well, correctly as in equivalent to the other versions. So it's a bunch of hairpins. Oh, this is the other real life track. I forgot that Pikes Peak existed. Well, so Pikes Peak is real, and this is the only game it appears in. So just a couple quick hairpins. And out. I go in the first there to get the rear end enough out to make it through. Alright, another pretty difficult test. 306. The downhill part of what we just did. So 306 is a front wheel drive. It's in the front wheel drive class of rally cars. It does exist in this form. It's just really difficult to drive because it's a front wheel drive with no oversteer. And having the really bad dirt physics is just a bad combination. And all 3 versions have different goals for this. America's 39.3, this is 38.7, and PAL is 36.3. I may have gotten the NTSCU one wrong, but difficult nonetheless. So, repeat of the Rome test earlier with the 155 touring car. So I'm going to try to go for a good setup here. I'm going to bounce the rear end off the wall over here, if I can. Well, the front end's just fine. This should be gold, if I did it right. I did not do it right. Normally that setup works, but I guess the front end doesn't work. Alright, XJ 220 in midfield. In the tunnel to the hairpin. This one's pretty much free. Because the XJ 220 handles pretty well. There we go. Not bad. Alright, back to the corkscrew with the Nissan R390. This test is actually difficult. To get the speed and the stability to get through corkscrew in one piece with a big machine like this, not the easiest. The trick to this test is to stay on the ground the whole time. Yeah, I didn't even go still, but staying on the ground is good. Being in the air is bad. Alright, and back to super fast corners with a GT1. So this is just going to be faster than the Griffith, but same line nonetheless. Get to the outside, go into third, try to accelerate out. Yeah, still a difficult test, so I'm not surprised I didn't gold it. Okay. So I'm only going to need to buy one car, just to get myself through the 80 Sports Car 5. I'll explain that after I get the car. So since used car cycles are different, I have to go out of my way and buy an RX-7, Infinity 3. If I was playing the American version, I would grab a Nissan Pulsar GTI-R, or GTI, for its full name. But it's pretty quick for being 10 grand. This is just fine. Suitable replacement. So, all races in this game have a horsepower restriction, on top of license restriction. The AI never gets anywhere near the horsepower restriction, so it makes tracks very easy. The AI is not very smart either. This game is notoriously easy if you just get a car that's anywhere near the horsepower restriction. This has horsepower restriction at 400 PS. I'm like 210 or something. It's gonna be simple enough. So I'm doing this track in particular because, well, every track in the special events nets a prize car. They do it for a reason I'll explain later. So this track is the easiest track to get a race car. The race car I get from this is the Nissan R30 Skyline Silhouette Formula. It's a long name for just being a R30 Skyline race car. So it's pretty quick, and it's the fastest I can get pretty simply. I'm using the RX-7 here because it's the fastest of the cars that I found would be pretty good. Doesn't weigh that much, has pretty good power. It's a shame there's not a lot of options for 10 grand, but use what I can get. And I'm not sure if it's like a testament to either how easy the game is, or how good the car shows, and how well I play. But I'm using a stock RX-7 and I'm still doing pretty well. In a race like this, with a horsepower restriction of, if you convert it to back to like a NTSCU version, it's 394 horsepower. Is that normally like a sports car? Like an A-class sports car, like a Skyline or something. So this is fine. And Tahiti Road's pretty simple. Not much to explain. This is a track that never came back. As well as Pikes Peak, Red Rock Valley, Grindelwald, Rome Short, Seattle Shorts. What else didn't come back? Can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, those tracks never came back, so this is the one time you'll see it. It's a pretty cool looking track. It's like the perfect beginner track. Oh, there's something I forgot to mention earlier when I was introducing the game. Gran Turismo 2 sold either 9.47 or 10 million copies, depending on where you read. So it's the third best-selling PlayStation 1 game of all time, or second, depending on where you read. I think some Final Fantasy game is in second place. I don't remember which one. There's 7 or 8. So the Gran Turismo series as a whole may only have been 2 games at this point, but did extremely well. So most likely either every other person or every third person you can talk to who ever owned a PlayStation 1 most likely had Gran Turismo 1 or 2. Which is a cool stat to think about. It may not be popular as a speed game, but it is a popular game. It was released in December 19th or 20th? It was Christmas week, 1999 in Japan. And January for America, and later on for PAL. Don't really remember when. Alright, so let's get this shovel. Is it blue? It's blue. So it looks like a shovel. You see, it has the handle and the front end. The front wing's pretty good. Alright, let's go beat the game. Nationals, leagues, worlds. So it's 5 races, 5 laps apiece. With the best race cars in the game. So I'm going to equip super soft tires and adjust the suspension. Max the spring rate, lower the ride height. I'll put the camera at 0. And max the downforce. Okay, there we go. So I did the suspension that way because having a spring rate and ride height at highest and lowest respectively makes the car closer to the ground and stiffer, so it's better to maneuver around corners, but it's more risky around bumps and elevation changes. And the camber at 0 so the tires are straight. And super soft tires, because super soft tires, and the downforce, I want to create that suction effect between the track and the car to make it just better overall. Alright, so this game has a lot of frame rate drops. As you can tell, it's really slow when all the cars are in your point of view. And each track loads in 2 different places. And it'll be very prevalent when we get to the end of the game with midfield. But it's already bad enough in Trial Mountain, so Gran Turismo 2 pretty much pushes the limits of the PlayStation 1 to the point where it can't handle it much and frame rate dies. As opposed to Gran Turismo 1, where Gran Turismo 1 was all good. So I'm gonna wall ride here because Gran Turismo 2, the grass isn't as punishing. So I didn't feel much grass, I felt more wall. Trying not to go in the air. But this suspension set is really risky, so I really need to avoid curbs. I need to be as clean as possible. I'm actually gonna take this, I think. Yeah, I'll do this. There we go. The shortcut's fine in games that are past Gran Turismo 1 because of the grass. Because grass is... in Gran Turismo 1, it's more thick grass. Your cars would get caught in it and all that. In 2, it's a little less. A little more like... well, light grass. And 3 and 4, you kind of just plow through it. It's all good. So 2 is a pretty good spot. I can actually do the shortcut. Well, it's only a quote-unquote shortcut, because if you take it as intended, with a different vehicle, it's faster, because you're not going into grass, you're not slowing down. You're not cutting that much of a corner. It's another wall ride. Good stuff. I'm going to be doing this a lot, because wall rides are good. Curb's not good. Should stop doing that. I'll probably get out of the grass. That's pretty helpful. So pretty much from here to the end of the game is just kind of autopilot, just me playing. So we're just focused on the G-Con kind of thing. Just to show the precision of the controller. Well, there is an equivalent you can get to the G-Con. If you can find like either the Interactive V3 steering wheel or the Mad Catz Dual Force steering wheel. Not really rare, but they have the hardware inside. There were plenty of controllers with the G-Con hardware inside that were made, like the Ultra Racer, Mega Racer, Rack-Con. What else? There's a Games Master, I guess what the brand is. Controller, it looks like a circle with the hardware inside as well. You can tell there's the G-Con hardware inside if there's a 1 and 2 button and an A and B button. So you know that's a good steering wheel. So be those right there. But some of those controllers had extra buttons, like the select button and L2 R2. And some games that have compatibility with this controller don't have compatibility with that controller. For example, the Ultra Racer has a lot of buttons, it has shoulder buttons and select button. But it doesn't work with WRC1 for PS2, which this does. So this controller only has compatibility with games with intended use in mind. And it's not very long of a list. It's like maybe 50 games. Maybe a little more. So it's not a controller you can plug and play and like just play whatever you want to play. Because there were steering wheels that were just plug and play, but they had the hardware was just a DualShock or something inside. This is more of an actual steering wheel. This might as well have been a USB steering wheel, if you can think of it that way. You know it's not, because there's no USB port on the PS1. And it also had a successor. It had the Jog-Con, but that had less compatibility. It only worked with 2 games. It worked with Ridge Racer 4 and Ridge Racer 5, and has a dial in the center. But it was very poorly built. And it's not even that good for the games it's used for. But there were rumors of it working for Gran Turismo 2 on one of the betas or demos. I haven't found it yet, but it'd be interesting to see. But there's so much precision I can get with this controller that makes it the best controller for this game. Alright, that's Trial Mountain. So unlike Gran Turismo 1, Gran Turismo 2 doesn't have separated like groups or classes for worlds. It's everything at once. But you can kind of tell there's differences. There's like DTMs and C-class cars. So like the R390s, the GT1s, the Venturi Antelique, and the Vector M12 and that, and then like the Lister Storm, the Calibra, the Audi TT, etc., would be in the other class, but they're all pretty much the same. But the Lister is the worst. Lister is the only race modified car. That's not a race car in the event, though it does exist in its form as a race car, and it appears in 3, 4, and the later games. It was a real touring car. Alright, so we're in Laguna Seca. Pretty simple enough. So it's the one road course that was real life that's in this game that made it to the full game, because Pikes Peak's a dirt course. Like was seen earlier in the IA license. So in betas and demos of this game, there There were actual Indianapolis Motor Speedway tracks that you were able to drive on. I think you had to access them through other means of like Game Sharks and whatnot. They're in the code. The track is actually built almost all the way, but never made it to the full game because I think of licensing. And then Monaco has like a skeleton. There's no textures really, but it is there. Pretty much is laid out as it should be, which is really interesting to think about that Monaco could have been in Gran Turismo 2 years earlier, as opposed to 3 where it made its debut and pretty much had the game built around it, because Monaco appears so often in there. Much like this game, where Laguna Seca is everywhere, pretty much. It's in Nationals, Leagues, Worlds, all the championships, and Gran Turismo All-Stars. It appears probably the most. There we go, that's the showing of riskiness of this suspension setup. I took that corner wrong and spun out. So because the car is so stiff and close to the road. And a little Easter egg about Laguna Seca. There were a lot of things that made the cutting room floor with Gran Turismo 2. This game is notoriously not finished. Big giant holes in it. Like physics-wise, typos in-game, awkward licensing issues. So much so that Gran Turismo 2 American version had to get 3 releases, 1.0, 1.1, and 1.2. And Japan had 2 releases, 1.0 and 1.1. I'm not sure about PAL. I think it had just the one because it was the latest version and everything was fixed. But there was rumored to be drag racing. It's not really a rumor, but it's in-game, kind of. As in there's 2 drag cars and a drag car race modification for the Dodge Intrepid. And there's supposed to be drag racing in the game, so there's no 100% in versions that are 1.0. Because there's supposed to be 4 tracks left over, which add up to 100% because it's 98.2. Subtract 100, well, 100% and then do 98.2. Subtract it from that, you get 1.8. 1.8 divided by 4.45. That's how much percentage each track gives you. So missing 1.8 for races is supposed to be the drag racing. So if you've ever played and beaten this game 100%, it's actually 100% on those versions. But anything 1.1 and later, you can do the 4 event generators, which are unlocked after you finish Super License. And it's the Screen Pass World Championship. You can do each of those once, and that counts for your percentage. It doesn't give you a trophy in the menus, so you never know about it. But it does finish up the game. Even though there's no reward for 100%, it's just interesting to know about. And where that lies for Laguna Seca, there was supposed to be a drag strip called Palm Strip. It's typoed in like everything that's ever been around as Plam Strip, P-L-A-M. And its skeleton exists in this track. You can break out of any track by just breaking the speed barrier, going fast enough through like a corner or something where like 2 walls meet. So Laguna Seca is pretty easy. It's been known about forever. And you can break out of the course and drive through the nothingness, and your little dot will be in, the whole screen. And you can go up to around where the lap times are, I believe. I think that's where it is. And you can actually see the remnants of Palm Strip, but you can't drive on it. When you go near it, it disappears. But you can see it ever so lightly. It's pretty interesting. But it's because it's on a different plane than you, so you can't like reach it really. That's a really neat Easter egg. It is kind of fun to imagine what this game could have been if it was finished, because this was 2 years after Gran Turismo 1. So it was supposed to be rushed out for Christmas, and basically not finished. So really, it's an amazing game, but also a disaster at the same time. Was a successful disaster, though. Uppercut Hill is up next. Track's pretty simple. I'm gonna do a little bit of a corner cut towards the end. That's kind of hard to control, but it's pretty interesting. It saves like a second or so. Fun fact about Apricot Hill: in all the one-make races and event generators, so any kind of random track, they're all in this big lists and get taken out of like a table. That's the best way to describe it. By a frame you enter in, given one-make race or event generator. All the tracks are in there, but Apricot Hill Forward, I think. Yeah, this Apricot Hill Forward is spelled wrong. So the way the game takes course is it randomizes a list and then grabs it from a table. It's spelled wrong in the list, so it doesn't know where that track is. So Apricot Hill Forward can never appear in a one-make race or event generator. So there's a little corner cut. If I don't turn the tires too much, I'll go out of control over there. Alright, so I looked behind there just to make the frame rate not go down, because that's where one of the loading zones is on Apricot Hill, right at the start. Because the track loads in pieces, because it's just so much like stuff on screen. So the draw distance actually has a limit. You can kind of see it like loading right now too. There's a lot to the game, pretty much. Gonna try to make sure the frame rate doesn't drop. It'll still drop a little bit, because the loading zone will be behind me at that point. But still just fine. It's very noticeable on American versions, on early PlayStation 2s, where the CPU wasn't as well done. So on versions of PS2s that are 75,000 or 77 or 90, actually I'm not even sure about 90. 90 has some awkward compatibility. You wouldn't see the drop as much. And I don't think the PAL version has a drop either, so just the American version. There's not really much to say about Apricot Hill other than that. I actually thought I wouldn't have enough time to talk about all this stuff for Gran Turismo 2. That's pretty funny. And after this, there's only 2 races to go. And that's the end of the game. Alright, on to Rome. So Rome, I'm gonna do a lot of wall riding. If I can press buttons. So there's one big wall ride I'm gonna do coming up here, like I did in License S, that saves the most time. Luckily I'm in a rear-wheel drive, so I'm not gonna clip out on accident. With the Escudo, if you're too quick on that wall ride, you can slip out of the wall. Even though there's 2 walls to every wall. So that was a little sketch. I think I may have did my calibration wrong because I'm not holding the accelerator and it's kind of accelerating a little bit. Oof, that was bad. Alright, I probably shouldn't be doing that wall ride. Better with an all-wheel drive is not an all-wheel drive. So the track's pretty simple. I probably should. When I deaccelerating, I'm gonna mess with the buttons, see if it'll be better. I got this thing from a Japanese recycle shop, so it's not the best condition, but it works just fine. It's the accelerator button. I've been using it, for a long time. Kind of wears out. I have to keep calibrating it. Yeah, nothing much to say about Rome other than what I just mentioned. It's a pretty simple course. Just winding, very city-like. Wall ride when I can. Yeah, that corner never goes well. Cause look at that first corner, you'd be like, okay. You take it without accelerating, or take it without de-accelerating or braking. Take it as is. It's deceptively like short of the corner. And I wish the curb wasn't in the middle. Alright, last track coming up. All that's left is Midfield Speedway. Raceway. I think it's Raceway. It was a very fast course. I'm going to try to go for a bunch of sub 1 laps. So this is a track I mentioned earlier about the frame rate drops being very prevalent. So you can already tell the game's pretty slow as it is. Just in the Japanese version. So it has to load all the crowd over there, stuff on the right, and pretty much the first half of the track. So it's very slow. And more cars on the track, in my point of view, makes it even worse, and now it's back. Alright. Now the game's at full speed again. Kind of. Alright, so this corner might be a little tough with my suspension. Really bouncy. Being a game in 99 on PS1, nothing's really flat or curved flat. So it's polygons and bounces kind of happen. Yeah, frame rate drop right there at the start. It's no good. There's really no good spots to just drive under that would make it any better either. Because it loads everything pretty much at once. And then the other part, after this bank's left, under the sign, is where the other part loads. So like right here you can kind of barely tell, but it does. This kind of helps a little bit. Helps enough, then I have to swing it back around at the start. Hey, look at that, 59, pretty good. The suspension really helps, because 59 was barely possible beforehand. Even saving half a second is very good. Which makes the suspension worth it. Let's see if I can pull off a 58 to end this off on a good note. Ooh, I almost did it there. Oh, rip that. That was cleared to go accelerate out. Turns out it was not. Alright, there's Japanese Gran Turismo 2. Alright, so a little catch with the credits is, no credits are stored on the simulation disc. They're stored on the arcade disc, because this was a 2-disc set, because there's so much game. So arcade mode's on one disc and sim's on another. So I'm gonna boot up the arcade mode and show the credits, because I actually never seen it before for the Japanese version. I am the world champion. Gotta check the goodies on the other disc. So I'll save this, put in arcade mode, and you guys can see the credits. I do want a car from this though. Now, like Gran Turismo 1 where you don't want a car. I want the NSX. You can get the Castrol Buick NSX, Cadillac Skyline, GT 199? No, 98. I think. R390, 98 as well, so. NSX. Nope. GT1. Was 98, okay. Takes a little bit to save, but it'll be worth it. Good old arcade mode. Oh, I forgot there's the intro sequence of this. Never even heard that one either. I'll just go to the credits, it's fine. Oh, I'm gonna watch it afterwards. Alright, loading. Oh yeah, there's all the courses. Not all of them, but yeah, close enough. Alright, so here's the credits. I'll let that roll. I'll mute for the credits and let you guys watch it.
Rising over your shoulder, I've seen the sky, you haven't vanished. You tell me you're longing to escape, always dreaming in a mirror, dreaming. What are you chasing for? Driving to blue light, somewhere to be found again. Sometimes I cry, I'm lost in thoughts. How to believe in me? Any way you want to break up, far away to keep the control. Now, just to give my love and soul. Proud of myself.